Hey guys, what's up? Matt here from Loon Outdoors. Today we're just going to be tying a little attractor pattern. I call it the Jock because it's got a hot head. I'm using a 5/16 fire hold jig hook and a 3/32 tungsten slotted bead from Hairline Dubbing. You can increase the bead size if you want. Some 50D Vivas as usual. It's just my favorite. And we'll go ahead and take those wraps down into the bend of the hook. Go ahead and trim off the excess. And again, we're going to be using Coq de Leon tails here. It's a nice durable material with some speckles, so it's kind of realistic. Obviously it's not, this is an attractor pattern, so it's not realistic as far as having only 3 tails or 1 tail or whatever, you know, that's anatomically correct. I'm not worried about that. I do take the tails pretty long. I want it to help create some wiggle in the fly possibly as it's moving through microcurrents under the surface. Next up, this is just some like a super floss, thin skin, or Life Flex, whatever you guys want to call it, or whichever one your local fly shop has. It's a nice tan color. It's mildly muted, and I'm tying this kind of as a just like a PMD, Calabatus, whatever you want, attractor. So next up, I'll bring in a piece. This is a peacock black crystal flash in midge size, and I'm going to use that as a ribbing material. I really like ribbing with flash on the Life Flex, Super Floss, whatever it is. And you can see I'm kind of pulling it. It's a tension thing. I'm actually making it skinnier because I've never found a flash material as thin as I want. So that's just like kind of a cool little hack that you can do. You can actually stretch it. There's a point where it will break, but you stretch it before you move on to the next step, and you won't have issues, because if it breaks, you can always tie a new one in. It is a little bit gangly and unruly, so as you're doing your body wraps, it will cause you a little bit of a little heartache, but nothing too bad. And with the Super Floss, what I do is I just take it pretty far forward, double it over itself, and we're going to build a little bit of a taper with it. It's going to be a little bit of a bulkier bug, not as dainty and thin as it could be, like say if you're using a quill like on some of our other videos. But it's almost going to end up being like a little bit thicker than most people would think, but that's okay. We want it to have a little bit of bulk. I do a few wraps, and we go from there. So you can see there's a little variance in the thickness just because that pulling technique is not perfect, but we'll go ahead and tie that in nice and tight, and you can kind of compress the wraps up there. It just makes the fly more durable overall. I always like splaying the tails. It makes absolutely zero difference, but for me it's like some sort of sense of accomplishment, I guess. I'm going to apply some flow here, just a little drop, and that's going to go all the way around the whole body of the fly. Next up, we'll cure it with the bench lamp, and I have it focused down so it's a pretty nice tight beam. And we're going to use some ice dub in brown here. Just a pinch, not a ton. Ice dub brown has that kind of purpley hue to it. I don't know why, but fish seem to greatly enjoy it. And next up, we're just going to take some bronze mallard and create some legs. So I take about 8 to 10 bronze mallard. You could use the same Coq de Leon here as well, I guess. It does have a little bit of that same style to it. So I just split these guys in half. I go ahead and just create these little leg sections pointing backwards. You know, when you're fishing this through like riffle water or leading it, like kind of walking the dog on a high stick or check nymph, Euro rig, whatever you want to call it, fish aren't going to have a ton of time to look at it or count. So that's fine. We're going to go ahead and trim this off, and we'll apply a little bit more dubbing. You can see I'm kind of just preening the legs out a bit. And a little bit more ice dub in brown, just a little bit darker thorax section right behind that hot spot. Just to set stuff off a bit. And you can go a little bit bulkier if you want, but I like to leave it buggy. It's just my style. It's a quick down and dirty fly. Once you get into the habit of tying them, you should be able to get them done rather quickly. So there you go, just the little the Jock. It's a great little searching pattern for you. Change the body, do it all up. Thanks for watching.